guys, welcome to Laughing with Lana. I am the sexiest comedian in Las Vegas who roasts some dicks, makes fun of tricks, and shows off these tits. That was a special one for you. I can't show them off today because I have Michael Sartain with me, the biggest woman bully of all time.
A bully?
I'm just
I love the shit out of women.
No, to be fair, oh my God. Okay, so like real quick, just a disclaimer. I absolutely hated your content when I first like met you because obviously you know why. Like I'm sure every woman who sees this content is just like, you fucking woman hater and everything. But when I meet you in person, I'm like, oh my God, he's so fucking cool. Like, you're genuinely cool.
It's talk to my team. My video team. What'll happen is I'll suggest these different clips to do, and I want to do clips on aliens, space travel, inflation, the war in Ukraine, astrophysics, all kinds of stuff. And then it's like Dumb 304 gets owned by, modern woman feminists, blah, blah, blah. And those go viral. And so people think that's all I do. Now, on Access Vegas, I do definitely do more of that than other places. But like, no, man, I'm like, when people are like shocked, I work for a battered woman shelter and like all this kind of stuff. Like, I love women more than I love men. Like, I do. So it's just really interesting. But the thing is, for me, when the show I do with Rollo is more about like, okay, so for instance, if I were to have a conversation with a man and I would say, hey, you are fat. And you being fat is going to cause you to have a hard time working, right? It's going to degenerate your joints. It's going to cause plaque in your brain. I know that's inconclusive, but I've seen some really interesting studies about gluten and eating poorly causing plaque in the brain and early onset Alzheimer's. And
is that why I forget shit?
But you're not fat. And then then the other part was women are not going to find you attractive. If I say that to a man, men are not offended by that. Men are generally, they're like, yeah, I'm a fat fuck, whatever. And a lot of them will be like, okay, now I'm going to go to the gym and get better and stronger. If I say to a woman, it's like, hey, you know what might be deleterious to your
deleterious. Hang on.
Negative. Bad for your dating situation and your job situation, it might not help for you to fuck multiple men on OnlyFans. And so I'm not trying to be judgmental because a bunch of my friends fuck multiple men on OnlyFans and dwarf people. What do they call little people now? I
love seeing them.
And
they
fuck people that have transitioned from one gender to another. We'll say that word so we don't get banned on here. But they'll do that, and then they'll afterwards they'll be like, "Where are all the good men?" And I'm like, "Well, it might be hard for you to find it." So understand when I tell a man he's fat, and I explain to him the consequences of that, or if I tell a man, "Hey, you have abused steroids for multiple years, you're going to have problems with your kidneys and your liver," you never see men come at me and get offended. Rarely. Now, there are a couple of guys who come after me when I talk about abusing Trenbolone. That's one of the things where they'll like come after me for that. But
what is that?
It's just it's an extreme anabolic steroid. But it's not. The point is, whenever you tell men these things that they have to do to improve themselves, no one stands up for them and they're not offended.
I do.
What do you mean?
I personally like I just feel like a lot of women do have like the easy route out. I've seen it a lot on podcasts.
Then you agree with me, yeah.
I agree with you on a lot of things.
But the point is, if I were to say to a woman, if I were to say you are overweight, then all of a sudden I am getting canceled. If I say a man is overweight, they're like, good, let him know that, because then the same thing happens where
men do get bullied on the internet.
They get bullied, but they don't get offended, and they're far more likely.
They do though.
I think they get offended when here's the one that offends them. I think the one that offends them, the two big ones are, I only want men who are tall when the guy's short, and the other one that's a big one is when a woman says something to the effect of, what is it? Oh gosh, I can't remember. Something to the effect of like, she wants to sleep with a lot of dudes, and he's like, he's judgmental against that. Then guys will get bullied for that or whatever. Not bullied, but they'll be like, why do you have these preferences? My point is, when I tell a man something that he's doing wrong, he doesn't get offended, and often he will make an improvement. If I tell a woman something she's doing wrong, then I am being controlling. And this is the impressions I get from reading the comments. I'm being controlling. I'm being judgmental. And even if it was just like, I'm speaking to these people like they're my friends. Like, I'm your attorney. As your attorney, let me advise you. You probably should lose 100 pounds. Something like that. And when I do that, I've just noticed that generally that when women have a preference, no one wants to talk to them about their preference being bad. For instance, the biggest one is the short men who are short. You understand? Women preferring men who are short has no evolutionary benefit in 2023. The baddest men on the planet are Navy SEALs and MMA fighters, and most of them are under 6 feet tall. The majority of them are under 6 feet tall. But men wanting women who have not been with a ton of men actually does have an evolutionary adaptation, because one of the things that happens is there's plenty of studies that show that as women have more sexual partners, it's harder for them to settle down and be in a marriage, more so than it is for a man who's had multiple sexual partners. Yeah. So the adaptation for men to not want to be with women who have a high body count is different than the adaptation for women to want taller men. And so that's the only point that I make.
Well, I have a question for you in a sense of like it's not really a question, but like me, a person like me, I am everything that you guys talk about on.
You're funny. You don't get offended. You don't take yourself seriously.
I don't.
And you're also how old, if you don't mind me
33.
asking? You don't look 33. Compared to other 33s, I know that you're more attractive than them. And compared to for women who don't take care of themselves in their early 20s, you're more attractive than them. So what I would say is you're on the end of the spectrum outside of standard deviation, maybe 2 standard deviations out. And then for men who specifically want your type, also being funny and Hispanic, you're like 10 standard deviations out. So what I'm saying is like there's always
hey, Michael Sartain said that. Okay.
Yeah. There's always going to be like, but the thing for me is like it's when a woman is morbidly obese and has multiple kids saying, I need these men to like step up and take care of me, and I'm a 10. That's where I'm like,
that's annoying as
fuck. Yeah, but what you're doing though is like because you go to the gym, I'm assuming, right?
No.
You don't go to the gym?
I just
eat clenbuterol? Like how do you
I eat cum, not the butyrol.
Okay.
I'm just playing. I do hard labor during the day. So
okay, there you go. So you do some exercise, but the thing is,
I'm physical.
I feel like it belittles you and your effort to look better when a woman calls herself a 10. But the thing is, what really belittles it is that woman who calls herself a 10 who isn't a 10, because there are so many surplus men out there, those surplus men will then simp for her. And then that will be more evidence in her mind that she actually is a 10. Because
real quick, sorry to interrupt you, but real quick, no woman or man in the entire world is a solid 10. Mm-hmm. Just from here on
Except for Kylie McGahey, my girlfriend. Yes, you're correct.
That's an opinion.
Yes.
But no one is an absolute 10.
I just need to go home and be safe. That's all I'm saying. She's armed. She always has a knife and a gun on her. I'm just saying.
Wait, does your girlfriend
have a penis behind my head? There is. Goodness gracious.
A big black one.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, baby.
I knew I recognized that from somewhere.
That's my. He needs a name. We'll name him Tyrone, maybe.
Yeah.
Tyrone.
That motherfucker Tyrone. Wait, but does your girlfriend have OnlyFans?
No.
But she has like not. I don't want to say explicit. They're not explicit.
No, she's a
model.
world champion bikini model. That's how I met her. I met her at Swimsuit USA's World Championship, and she finished as a top finalist there. And to me, she was the hottest girl there. But there were 2 things. Number one, she has breast implants, which don't work well. Surprisingly, in a Vegas bikini competition, breast implants don't hurt you. But in a Swimsuit USA or a Miss USA type pageant, breast implants do hurt you, and she has large breast implants. Because she had a procedure done. She had a growth that she had to have a mastectomy. Mm-hmm. And so she did this when she was younger. And the other thing is she does not play nice with people she doesn't like, which is not really good for pageants, right? Mm-hmm. And so I met her, and I remember thinking...
She has an aggressive like not an attitude, but she has an aggressive personality.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I remember meeting her at the thing and being like, you are the hottest girl here, and I know you're not going to win. Because
right.
She's the type of girl, like if the guy one of the judges flirted with her the wrong way, she'd slap him. Like she's very much that girl.
Go ahead, girl.
And like I said, she has huge fake boobs. So like those 2 things don't work well in those type of pageants. So that's why I was like, you're mine. I don't care who wins. You win for me.
That's cute. Mm-hmm. That's sweet. But it doesn't bother you that she's like has
no, because so it's a little different for me. So you're talking about the red pill dogma of like these women should not be posting all these pictures online or whatever, or she's posting pictures like she's single.
Not necessarily. It was just because like from my experience when I post stuff like that, or I have OnlyFans, or I was a stripper before. Yeah. When I was stripping, I had my partners being like, I don't want you sharing your body with nobody. But I'm just saying, you personally, you're okay with that.
So this is going to seem a little weird, but it might make sense to some guys. Because we're with women together, I actually like that she's that attractive and other women find her attractive on social media, because it just sort of makes the polygyny work easier, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Does that make sense? I don't mind her dressing like that for other women, because it's mostly other women that come up and talk to her when we're a couple and we're together. For other, again, everyone has their own different preference. I know, like, say Myron from Fresh and Fit would say something to the effect of like, well, she's still posting pictures like she's single. Well, she isn't. My girlfriend posts pictures of me constantly on her OnlyFans, on her Instagram. She doesn't have an OnlyFans. And so that I don't feel like she's posting like she's single. And the other thing for me is like, for me, I've never had an issue with that whole thing about her posting pictures because my last 2 girlfriends before her became famous while they were dating me because I know all these photographers and because of what I do. And so they became famous and I was very happy for them. We didn't break up because of it. It wasn't an issue. But like I'm a little different in that like I want my girlfriend to have her own agency and then still decide to stay with me. I want to go to the after party where Drake is there and for her to decide to leave with me instead of Drake. If she leaves if your girl, I'm going to say this before, and this is going to be, here's your clip for the show here. If your girlfriend cheats on you, she did you a favor in every single instance.
I say that all the time.
If your girlfriend cheats on you, she did you a favor. You just didn't realize that she did you a favor.
If your boyfriend cheats on you too, he did you a favor.
If your boyfriend cheats on you, that means, if your boyfriend cheats on you, that just means he's got game. But if your girlfriend cheats on you, that means she did you a favor. She did you a favor. Now you know. So for me, it's like whereas some guys like want to like keep their girlfriend away from these other people. In my whole situation, I'm like, if you're gonna leave, then you're gonna leave. Because I think what makes it different for me is like my girlfriend's amazing and I love being with her. But I think everyone knows that if my girlfriend and I broke up, I would find someone very quickly because of the life I live. I host the 3 biggest bikini competitions in the world.
Yeah.
And then I have Access Vegas, where there's 10 new girls on every week, right? So it's not.
Can you give me a heads up when you actually do the bikini? You gave me a heads up like 2 days before, and I was like, "Fuck."
Next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday, if you want to come, the 28th.
Okay, yeah, I can actually make that happen. Probably.
Do you want to compete or do you want to judge?
Both.
You can't do both. You can compete or judge.
I'd rather judge, but can I say the commentary? Because my commentary be funny as fuck.
No, I'm the only one who can say commentary.
No, then I want to be a part of it.
You want to compete?
Yeah, I could compete.
10th place is a grand.
I want to watch this.
Oh, I would. Oh my God, I would. My no ass shaking on top of the fucking stage. I'm like,
there is no ass shaking in this contest. This is a pageant.
Bet?
Yeah. No, you get disqualified. There's no twerking.
I will literally get disqualified on purpose. That's the bitch I am.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Okay, so do you consider your girlfriend traditional?
She's surprisingly traditional, except for one thing, and that she likes to wear bikinis all the time. That's it. That's like
it's
the only
traditional sleeping with other women with you, though. That's considered. Well, that's not traditional.
If you were to ask Genghis Khan, it's quite traditional, right? If you were to ask Genghis Khan,
like Mormons,
guy lived in the 15th century who took over.
That's a whole history lesson.
He killed like 10% of the human population, conquering all of Asia. He made it all the way to Venice. He made it all the way to Italy. Where I think they finally stopped in there. But the other example would be King David or King Solomon with 800 wives. No, I don't think men being with multiple women is part of being traditional. Now, if you choose monogamy, that's totally fine.
Isn't traditional considered something that's considered in the Bible, or traditional is just considered something that was back in the day?
So if I'm Muslim, then traditional would be for me to have 4 wives. If I am Christian, then
but that's 4 wives. You're just sleeping with other women with your girlfriend.
Correct, right? But
so that's not really anything.
So it just depends on like which traditional you mean. If you're Jewish, then you might not have any compunction against premarital sex at all. It just depends. So is she traditional? I mean, I don't know.
So what's your level? Like you're considering a bunch of different traditional.
Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, and then don't sleep with any other dudes. That's kind of it. And then don't obviously respect me. That would be the main thing.
No,
provide peace.
That's your standards.
Yes.
That's what you expect.
Then that's the only thing I would care about. What the prescriptions in the Bible are not the ones that what I'm going to do. The standards are what my standards are more important to me.
So then are you saying that traditional means something different to every single person?
Of course, yeah. It depends on which.
So what if traditional to me is like, I'm gonna fuck all these dudes and do everything I want because that's traditional for
Lana,
2000s.
You know that's awesome. You know why that's great? Because I would love to have you on my show if you did fuck all those dudes, but I just don't want to date you. Does that make sense? Yeah. And by the way, maybe you can be a guest star. Never mind.
What? Guest star where?
Never mind. Nowhere.
That's fucked up.
No, I'm just saying.
Hi guys. No, well, in a sense, I feel like if traditional is considered something, if it's considered something different to every person, then how do you have all of the content and the context of saying that women should be traditional?
So for most of this country's...
Is it biblical?
No, well, okay, so let's go with that. So for most of this country's existence, the majority of people in the United States have been Protestant. So
Protestant.
So when you say Protestant, meaning Christians but not Catholics. So when you say Protestant, that would include the Methodists and the Baptists, etc. The Episcopalians would be descendants of the Anglicans, but everything.
Episcopalian. That sounds like you eat fish. What the fuck that mean?
Yeah.
Pescatarian.
Yeah.
Episcopalian.
Yeah. For the most part, like the majority of this country is Protestant. And so as Protestants, what you would say is the 66 books in the Bible, not the Catholic Bible that includes the Apocrypha, but the 66 books in that Bible, that would be the majority of what, when you say something traditional, they would go off that. That's probably what, as far as in the United States. Right. If we're in Mexico, however, the majority of that country is Catholic. So they would include the Apocrypha. I don't know how that would change their tradition, but they have very different beliefs there than we do in the United States. Like, for instance, as a Protestant, we are far more tolerant of divorce than they are in a Catholic country. That would be an example. We don't, as Protestants, we don't need an intercessor between us and Jesus, whereas Catholics need a priest. For instance, a priest delivers quote-unquote last rites, whereas Protestants believe we're all saints. Catholics believe there are certain saints.
So where does your traditional belief come from?
It just comes from me mostly. I mean, there is some Judeo-Christian things that I believe, but I would believe those things even if I wasn't Christian.
So yours is a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's not a little bit of everything.
I don't want to call it like it's not hypocritical, but it's like
hypocritical would be like if I told other people to not lie while I was lying. That would be hypocritical.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not hypocritical, but it's like well, if you're just taking what you think traditional means from every single different thing, this is the debate. It's like a cover of like, hey, I'm gonna take this, and this, and here, like all these traditionals from different religions because I like this.
No, I mean, I think what I would do is
you're taking a little bit of Christianity, a little bit of Muslim, a little bit of.
No, I think a better way to say it would be, part of my whatever my standards are would come from secular beliefs, and part of it would come from Christianity. That's what I would believe. Like, for instance, like we're not going to put devil worship shit in my house ever. Right. Even though I don't go to church every week. Like there's certain lines there. But to go back to your point, oh gosh, I forgot what I was saying.
Well, the traditional sense. You said if you're taking the different aspects of
it goes back to who you are and what you believe. But I mean, I just don't. My point is, I don't want to judge people based on that whole thing. The Bible.
But you kind of do.
No. I judge. So let's go back to what I was saying before. When I say that it is harder for you to find a husband if you've been with multiple men, I'm not telling you you're bad. In fact, some of my closest female friends.
True.
Yes.
That's true. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Some of my closest female friends, like I fucking love Nora Ford. She is so fun to hang out with. Nora Ford is like my Vegas version of Kindly Myers, who's one of my best friends. And Nara's so fun. But Nara is now doing studio porn. She was recently with a guy for a long time. She's doing studio porn. I don't judge Nara. I love Nara. I love hanging out with Nara. But I would not want to date Nara. Right. I don't have the constitution to want to be in a relationship with somebody.
It's your preference.
Correct. Yeah. Same thing with my friend Sarah Jessie. Sarah Jessie has been a studio porn actress for a long time. Love hanging out with her.
Right.
I happen to know her husband, boyfriend, baby's daddy. Yeah. And he allows her to go and film with other men porn and then come back and have a traditional the way she explained it to me is that she's not even in a polyamorous relationship. Yeah. She is in a monogamous relationship where she films porn on the side.
I know a lot of people who think that way.
For sure. I don't dislike her. What I am saying, though, is like in her situation, in a vacuum, it would be harder for her. And I asked her, I was like, do you think it'd be harder for you to find a traditional relationship after you've done porn? She's like, of course it would be harder.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Do you see it? But I don't hate you because of that. Does that make sense? That's the difference, right? So if I make a prescription about like the fact that, 78% of marriages are initiated by women, or divorces are initiated by women. Yeah. That doesn't mean I hate women. What it means is that women are, because of the way the world is right now, women know that they have more options, and they have things like, in family court, 86% of the time, primary custody is awarded to a woman. 98% of alimony is paid from a man to a woman. So, like, she knows maybe it's not a better option, but she still does have options if she wants to get a divorce. Right. Whereas in some Catholic countries, divorce is just not an option. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so some people may say, and I'm just having a socioeconomic conversation here, some people may say that's better to maintain divorce, like, for the upbringing of the children, the two parents should sacrifice and tolerate each other, even if they hate each other, so that the children can be raised in a two-parent household. Yeah. There's arguments in favor of that because more two-parent households tend to create fewer criminals and fewer delinquents and cause people to become, more productive members of society when they grow up with two parents. Yeah. So you can make that argument. You see what I'm saying? There's also arguments like, for instance, me being a philanderer, which I completely admit to being a womanizer in my 20s. For me, I used to manage a strip club. For me to have been with as many women as I had, that means that there's men at the bottom who aren't with any women at all, right? I know it's weird math here, but like if 83% of the right swipes on Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge are going to 20% of men. That means 80% of men are competing for 17% of women. And part of those 17% of women are bots. Those are women that are trying to get you to subscribe to their OnlyFans or their prostitutes. And so we have 80% of men.
Shout out prostitutes.
They're competing for
Fuck yeah, bitches.
They're competing for like 15% of women. And so like it just doesn't work out. Like the numbers don't work out. So what happens is it's like not only are women not choosing these men at the bottom, they're disproportionately choosing the men at the top.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, not because I'm not like super good looking or anything like that, but because of the situations that I put myself in logistically, where I'm surrounded by women all the time, I could have, during different points in my life, had, numerous partners. And sometimes in my early 20s I did, and later on probably didn't do so much. And the thing is, for me to do that, that means every one of those girls is now like less likely to settle for one of those guys at the bottom.
Yeah.
And so the polygynous,
because they dated up here.
Correct. The polygynous society that has been created is in part because of guys like me. And so I understand that. But then there's another argument that shows that if you have societies where people are monogamous, so enforced monogamy creates less crime. When you don't have enforced monogamy and you have a situation like certain Middle Eastern countries where wealthy men can have multiple wives, you have younger men who are virgins into their 30s and 40s, and the only sex they could ever have is with a prostitute. And often those are the people you pick from to strap bombs to their chest and go blow up coffee shops. Does that make sense?
What the fuck?
This is where some of these incredibly...
I have a really random question, kind of, a little bit.
For sure.
But, not random, but do you think, and this is not disrespectfully, I mean this respectfully, but do you think that you sleeping with as many women as you have makes you better in bed?
Yeah, I know it does.
It does?
There's no question whatsoever, yeah.
What's your kink? You look like a toe sucker.
No, my kink is 2 women at the same time. I mean, I'm pretty obvious to that. And
that's easy.
That's kind of vanilla.
That's vanilla. Come on, let's get chocolate in
And I
it.
like really big boobs. That's kind of it. It's pretty. I know it's
Fake
pretty
boobs?
good. Yeah, usually. I haven't been with a girl that didn't have fake boobs in maybe like a decade.
Really?
No, that's not true. That's not true. There's been a couple, but they were in threesomes. Yeah.
Really? So
Yeah.
you don't have like a kink, like a thing? A thing that you
Like
do?
BDSM.
Like
No, it's
that
not BDSM, but-
you and your girl just do together?
What I do is I do like the role play where I pretend like she's taking advantage of me. I love that shit. Like,
Oh, what?
Oh, so you're into role play.
Wait, are you like
Professor Lana, what do I have to do to get an A in your class? I'll do anything to get an A. Why are you taking me in this closet, Professor Lana? I'll do shit like that all the time. And it's funny because it's like there'll be a lot of tension and it just breaks the tension. But I love that kind of stuff.
No way,
I like making girls
role-playing.
laugh like while we're having sex. Yeah, I like doing
Oh,
it. But yeah,
yeah,
there's just no way. Like I remember there was a girl when I was 22 years old. She was
Mm-hmm.
older than me and she was teaching me things. So no, there's absolutely being with as many women. Now I've been with too many women. I'm not gonna lie. But
What's your body count?
I'm not gonna say, but it's
Why
too
not?
it's too many.
Average.
Huh?
100.
Average? What do you mean average?
100, like give or take.
I mean, you guys can do
what's
some
your
math.
stat?
I'm 45 years old, and I've been with more women than I needed to be with. That's
So
all I'm saying.
500.
I've been with more. We don't need to say anything else. We're
600.
good. Rule number 6 in MOA.
600. He agreed on the 6. He said 6. 600.
Nobody needs to know who you're fucking. I'm a man of God. Anyway, the point is,
Quote unquote, man of God.
the point is,
You said, man of God, motherfucker, you gonna burn in hell.
the point is, by the way, I'll tell you something else. I would have had more sex had I been in relationships during my 20s and 30s than sleeping with multiple women. Does that make sense?
No, say that one more time.
You're always going to have more sex being in a relationship. This is something I've learned. Unless you're Dan Bilzerian, you're always going to have more sex being in a relationship than trying to go hunt for different women every week.
Oh,
Does that
that in
make
a
sense?
man's standpoint.
Correct.
Okay.
Because-
so I'm like, for women, I'm like, no, I have a lot more sex when I'm single.
Right. That's sad. Yeah.
I just told on myself.
Yes.
I have a lot more sex when I'm single though. Like I do obviously I have sex when I'm in a relationship and I fuck a lot.
Yeah.
But it's still one of those like I just want to cuddle sometimes. So when I'm single, I go to your house with purpose.
Yeah, my girlfriend is so young and healthy and just virile and just fucking strong as shit and just like she's just so like there's these times where it is so clear that I'm a 45-year-old man and I just need to stay in bed for a little longer, or like I did 3 podcasts and I just want to nap, and she's just always ready to go do shit, and she's like she got hammered last night and she's working a convention right now and it was
fuck?
nothing. It just bounced off. I can't even imagine drinking as much as she did, but she's 21 years old and she just bounced. So the weird thing is like she is of unusually. She obviously looks very feminine, but she is of unusually high testosterone for because of how aggressive she is, and her like she doesn't put on any weight.
Would you marry her?
If things keep going the way they are, yeah, I definitely.
How long
would.
have you guys been together?
October 27th last year.
Oh, it's only been like a year.
Yeah.
Ish, like 9, 10 months ish.
Yeah, a lot of people get confused because she does look similar to my previous girlfriend, but she's very different.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hell no. Oh, you got a type, motherfucker.
I don't have a type. That's not why. Totally random.
I'm not gonna clip that one for you.
You
I'm gonna
can.
delete that.
No, you can. I don't care. She knows. She's seen
fuck
it.
that bitch. No, fuck that bitch. You're cuter, mommy.
Yeah, she definitely is. My current girlfriend now is definitely hotter than any girl I've ever been with.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, with her is because I'm also on. I'm taking testosterone and other stuff.
Yeah.
I can keep up with her. And so I definitely have more sex in a relationship than outside a relationship because of that. Because even I don't care, even if you're just a super fucking player, every guy who knows who's a player and he's been with 25 girls in a month or whatever, he's had the slow months. The slow months do happen. And then if you have a real job, or if you have a job like me where I make more money the more I work, those jobs require so much time, and getting into girl mode is it's a gear you have to shift. So I have to change my whole vibe. It's funny because I go out to clubs in the same thing I wear on the show. I don't change anything. But there's the club going out to meet.
You have a uniform
For sure. There's the club going out to meet girls mode. That's called that sixth gear, and then there's the make money gear, and those are two different gears. If you have a girlfriend, you don't have to switch from one to the other. But if you do have if you do have a girlfriend, if you don't have a girlfriend, then when I go out to the club, I have to get out of make content mode, and I have to go back into build comfort and attraction with a girl mode, and those are two different modes. That takes time, and then I have to keep switching from one mode to another. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's hard because of the work. And the other thing for me is, shout out to my team. We did 168 this last week, 168,000 in a week in revenue.
Damn.
The most we've ever done is 540,000 in a month. And so for me, the more I work, the more money we make. And I have 22 employees, I think, at this point. And the thing for me is because of that, now I can't do the all-nighter where I go, it's dinner, then Zook or Omnia, and then Dre's, and then the Rhino, and then Wet Republic the next day, when I was in my early 30s when I first meet. I can't do that anymore because
I can't do that now, and I'm in my early 30s.
But I can't. But it's such a waste because every minute I'm doing that, I'm not making money for my team by not doing this.
Right.
So I whore myself out to every fucking podcast that asks me to come on.
I feel that.
I'd come on yours no matter what. But the reality is
on my what?
Your podcast.
I'm just
oh my God.
You walked into that one.
You walked right into that one.
You can flirt with Kylie. You can't flirt with me. So the thing is, I have a rule. There was two content creators I know, and one of them was big, and one of them was not as big, right? So the smaller one said to the bigger one, "Hey, can I come on your show?" They both lived in Miami, and the bigger one said, "Hey, no, I don't think it's a good fit for me." Now the smaller one is now 10 times bigger than the bigger one was, and now the older bigger one is like, "Hey, can I come on your show?" And the first guy is like, "Hey, do you remember when I asked to come on your show and you didn't let me do it?" So I never, because of that lesson, I never ever say no to someone's podcast. And I'd say probably 15 to 20% of the podcasts I've been on have 0 subscribers. I'm their first episode. Does that make sense?
I have one of my friends who taught me that. He actually flew all the way to Atlanta to go do a podcast in it probably had 2,000 followers. It wasn't even a big podcast.
But he gets to write the whole thing off. That's the point.
Well, that too, but he even said, he was like, I treat every interview and every invite to an interview as if it was 106 in Park.
Of course.
Or something like that. It was or I said 106 in Park. That's so old. I meant Power 106.
Yeah.
If you're gonna meet someone like Big Boy, and you're you treat the little people just like that, because sometimes little people, they fucking grow big.
If you go right now, there's 448 interviews. I have one playlist on my YouTube. It's just interviews that I do on other people's channels, and we're coming up to 450 of them that are on there. And the thing is, if I ever, knock on wood, go on Joe Rogan someday. Mm-hmm. If that would ever happen, I'm not going to be nervous. It's I've done so many of these that that you get to the point. It's immersion, which is one of the things I teach my thing. I was always wondering, if I were to ever go on Joe Rogan, why would he want me on? That's always the thing.
Aliens and conspiracies and all that.
I'd have, if I wanted conspiracies, I'd ask Michael Schumer on, and if I wanted to talk about aliens and space travel, I'd have Neil deGrasse Tyson on. There's just people better than me to have on. If I wanted evolutionary psychology, I'd have Gad Saad on, or I'd have Steven Pinker, or I'd have David Buss on. But for me, you know what the thing I was like, how could I possibly get on Joe Rogan? You know what I'm doing? Yeah. So I'm debating flat earthers and I'm debating Holocaust deniers.
Holocaust deniers?
Holocaust deniers. Because if you do that...
There's deniers?
There's tons of them, yeah. It started with a guy named David Irving back in 1988. He was a historian, and the guy just clearly just hated Jews. That's all he did. Like, it was nonsense. He would in one book state that the Holocaust never happened, and then in another book state that Hitler knew about the Holocaust or didn't know about the Holocaust, and then later on state that Hitler knew about it but was opposed to it. Wait, okay, so did it not happen, or was he opposed to it?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's utter nonsense. Like, no, dude, you just hate Jews. Like, just admit it. Like, that's what happened. Like, some Jewish guy took your girl, and now you're fucking mad. You know, like stop it. So many people like hate me. Like I see these comments and I'm like, bro, I know why you hate me. Like your girl is following me, and that's why you hate me. I get it, and trust me. Like I probably didn't have sex with her, so don't get mad.
You know what? Actually, like to kind of like piggyback off of that, because I genuinely like I did not like your content, but then I see you and I'm like, bro, he's so fucking cool. Fuck that guy. Like damn. But your content, I wouldn't say it's very like men versus women. I don't.
Yeah.
It's more like trying to get the clout and then getting the views.
Yeah, but the problem is like today I posted Rich Sheffrin's interview, and I'm just so disappointed because that guy he's a consultant to all these 9-figure companies, and everybody, all they want to see is the videos that say modern feminist 304 gets destroyed by so and so, and I'm like, I just had a guy on who like invented the automated webinar and was one of the first VSL users of all time. He could make you $100 million if you'd listen to this fucking guy, and nobody want to watch the video. They just want to see women get trashed on the show, and I just
that's what I'm saying is like there is this whole like trend of like men versus women. Yeah. And whether they're in relationships, in a marriage, single, whether they're players, whether they're men or women, whether they're transgender, fat, skinny, it doesn't matter. There is a war against like men versus women. It's like men need to do better for women need to do better for men, but no one actually does it because everybody thinks they're worth some shit.
Yeah, well,
everybody think they're fucking worth it, and no one's worth it.
Well, but there was a Macho Man Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan. That was a thing that happened a long time ago, right? There was no winner. Like the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. Like it didn't matter. Like in the end, what we wanted was the conflict. We didn't want them to get along. We wanted the conflict. Yeah. And what you're talking about, I don't know if there's an actual war, but there's a war on YouTube. And there's a war on Rumble. And so I think there's
a war on all social media.
Yeah, for sure.
Social media for sure.
And what's happened is, one of the problems is that there's an overrepresentation of women, and this is something we try to fix on Access Vegas. There's an overrepresentation of women who want clout that go on these shows, and because they want clout.
Fuck these bitch. I know what you're talking about too, because these fucking bitches, I'm like, you are so desperate for clout that you're willing to go on a fucking podcast and get trashed. And the thing is, they sound like they're so down with the clout that they get trashed, and they literally sound so fucking stupid because they're just clout chasing ass bitches.
But the problem is, if you make money like that, then you don't need to know you don't know where Ukraine is on a map. You don't know what the inflation rate.
Hey, which by the way, when you asked me where the fucking countries were, naming countries, bro, I felt stupid because I didn't know, because I never took no fucking geography.
Right, but the problem is like you're also pretty, and that so because of that.
Wait, but I'm smart as shit though.
I know you are, but like you didn't need to know that, and I'm a U.S. military navigator. I needed to know where Ukraine was.
Yeah,
right? It's very important that we didn't fly over it.
Yeah, like I actually had this conversation with Amber because I was like, he asked me I was like, I don't know where countries are. I was like, but I can name every fucking chamber of the heart. I can name all the bones, like because I did medical for a little bit. So I'm like, I can name different shit. I was like, I can literally do math on a ruler.
The 2 atriums and the 2 ventricles.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can do. I know how to do. Like I was reading heart rhythms for 5.5 years in the hospital until I fucking hated the shit out of doctors.
So what's happened though is like women. So if you're a traditional woman who is married, and let's say on the side you work as a vet tech or you're a nurse or something like that, right, and you're highly educated, you're just not going to end up on Fresh and Fit. You're just not going to end up on whatever podcast. It's just not how it works. If you're trying to get OnlyFans subscribers, then it's just going to be a disproportionately high number of those women that go on those shows, which is why you'll notice on my show, often what we're trying to do is, I had a U.S. military officer on. She was a lieutenant. I've had a couple of PhDs, a few. I try to have at least 2 master's degrees on every show. I like to have at least 1 or 2 people that are females that are married on every show. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I try to find a deeper representation. And so now what I have is, I'll have 8 girls on there, and not all of them are perfect 10s. A lot of them are like 40 years old, have a couple of kids.
Yeah.
And the chat just jumps on him. I'm like, but I thought this is what you asked for. Like, you wanted a better representation of women. You know how the easiest show you could do is a panel show with OnlyFans girls. You want to know why? Because OnlyFans girls will go on podcasts because they want subscribers.
Right.
They want subscribers.
Right.
And so if I wanted to do 10 OnlyFans girls every week, it would be easy as shit.
Which you kind of do.
And they'd be super. No, but I don't. Like, if you go look, it's fewer.
Kinda. It's a kind of.
If you go look on my show, fewer than half the girls have OnlyFans, and like it's confusing to my audience because they're like, we like the girls better and fresh and fit or whatever, and I'm like, no, you don't understand what I'm doing here. I'm trying to find this girl's a real estate agent. This girl has a master's degree,
right?
And like I'm trying to give you a different representation. Now, what happens, unfortunately, even in those situations, like a girl who has a law degree, she can name 3 countries. She's not gonna have a hard time with it. But unfortunately, what happens in those situations that makes it really messed up is that their opinions will be the same. You'll have the 36-year-old girl with multiple kids and a master's degree saying that she will only date a guy who's over 6'2", and then now but now the audience is just jumping right back on her. She's a 304 again, and then we got nowhere. But the thing is, like, there's the depth and the breadth. I still want to be a part of this conversation.
Depth and the breadth.
Right. So the depth for me is when I go deep into evolutionary psychology, evolutionary studies. Some people are very much into it when I talk about this stuff, and some people are very bored by my statistics. Very bored. Okay. There's so many fantastic. There's a new one that just came out. Institute for Family Studies showed that women under the age of 35 who have never been married, 33% of them have had 0 sexual partners in the last year.
Wait, say that again.
Women unmarried under the age of 35. Have had 0 sexual partners in the last year, 33% of them. That's crazy. That means the number of women not having sex is climbing also, as well as men. Like the amount of people, one of the things that's happened is like because of the Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B culture, women are showing more and, no offense, they are fucking less. Like what's happened is, it's because of here's the biggest difference. Go ahead.
Those 2 women are very comparable to Foxy Brown and Trina.
For sure.
Yeah,
but,
I'm like, so it's been.
Yeah, I don't mean what I mean specifically by this is, if you were an attractive woman in 1996 and you bought a nice dress and you had a sick ass body and you wanted to show it off and you got your hair done, you had to go to a club. And in the club, you were going to drink alcohol, and you were going to be exposed to high status men with broad shoulders and deep voices that were possibly going to eventually you go to the club over and over again, you're going to have sex with some of them.
Yeah.
What happened now is that these same women can get that same validation by using social media, and even more so, never leaving their house and then posting pictures on OnlyFans. Yeah. So now they're receiving the same validation, plus they're receiving money. Right. And now for them going to the club, they're losing money by going to the club. So now the guy who was able to pick up the girl before, he doesn't have any exposure to her whatsoever. And so now you get into a situation where there was this, I don't know how to explain it, but there was this group of men and group of women that were always going out as singles, and then they would occasionally hook up. And a lot of that has been dried out. You just don't see it as much. And we're seeing it in the numbers. There's this lowest third of men and lower third of women that are just having no sex at all. Not no sex, but like fewer than one partner a year. And so that's the thing that's going on, and we're starting to see it across the board. And it's what you would expect, right? If you don't live in Las Vegas, if you live in Des Moines, Iowa, and you get all your stimulation virtually through the internet, the likelihood of you having vaginal intercourse is just so insanely low that it just doesn't happen. And I know this because I was a U.S. military officer stationed in Wichita, Kansas, stationed in Altus, Oklahoma, stationed in Eielson, Alaska, and fucking Abu Dhabi, UAE. So like I've seen these austere places in like Qatar where it's just like you going out to pick up a girl that isn't a prostitute just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
This is a little off subject, but since you mentioned it, because I just had this conversation with one of my best friends. She was in the military. And you hear this often where women in the military get sexually abused, get raped, and there's no justice behind that because, the military has their own police, law enforcement.
So there is, but you have to testify. So the problem is this, right? I don't know if I'm not going to say her name. She's been on a Sticky Paw show before. There is a girl who was an NCO in the Marine Corps, and she's a huge model now. She was Playmate. But while she was in the Marine Corps, she was a top tier Marine. Had the record for most pull-ups as a woman. Her intention was to become an E9. Nice. Which is the highest enlisted rank. Okay. And while she was doing that, she was horribly sexually assaulted while she was there. Exactly. And when she reported her being sexually assaulted, one of the things that happened was the commandant of the Marine Corps actually had a conversation with her saying, we want to give you full benefits and 100% retirement if you leave now. And the reason why he had to do that was because if she stayed in, she's now the E7 who got raped. And that's too hard. Like, for her command structure, the Marine Corps is not progressive enough to deal with that. The Marine Corps, to be fair, is not progressive enough to deal with homosexuals, to be fair. Like,
that was a whole nother thing.
That is very true.
And maybe shouldn't have to be fair. Like, I think the Air Force can deal with homosexuals. I just pissed off a bunch of people. But like, in the Air Force, like, dude, you're working security forces, or like, you're fucking working in finance. Like, nobody cares if you're gay, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's different. Like, if my boom operator were gay, it makes no effect. It's no effect. But if you're a Marine and you're like forward deployed and you guys are naked around each other a lot, I can see how that may have some problem. You know what I'm saying? There's two issues, right? The initial issue was gays like on the front lines, which I don't know. I mean, I think maybe we've gotten past that. But the other idea was women on the front lines, and the problem was if one of the other men in the unit started sleeping with one of those women, would he be willing to do more to save her life than another one of his troops? That damages mission morale and discipline, and so that's why you didn't see that happening as much, or that's the reason why even right now women are not allowed on the frontline infantry.
But do you think that there's like a payout to tell somebody, to tell a woman like, hey, hush, hush, you're gonna just like, we'll give you a payout?
So that's what happened. So the payout, the payout was 100% retirement after like not doing 20 years. That's a lot of money. So that's what happened to her. And from her standpoint, what justice that should have happened is she should have been able to continue her career, but she knew she couldn't. It's one of these situations, like, again, you'll have a model and she will get sexually assaulted by a photographer, and then she'll be completely in her right to claim sexual assault, have proof, everything, get the guy charged, get the guy convicted. But the problem is when that happens, no other photographers want to shoot with her. It's incredibly sad and unfortunate, but I've seen it happen several times when girls sit there and complain about a photographer sexually assaulting them. No other photographers, because the other photographers don't know, even though she is telling the truth, the other photographers don't know if she's telling the truth. So now she's double fucked herself. And that's the problem. And the world shouldn't be like that.
That's how my world has been in a sense, because now I've noticed that when I tell a guy that, because I've been raped in the past, and when I was like, when I tell a guy, it's either you have trauma, I'm not going to deal with the baggage, or it's I'm not going to fuck you because you're just going to tell someone else that I raped you, even if it was consensual. And I was like, that's not how that works. But guys, like, and that's the thing too, is guys are so...
There's a way to fix that I can tell you about.
What do you mean?
Get a video of you kind of like coming onto him a little bit, like maybe kissing his neck or something like that, but clearly where you're initiating, film it and then send it to him. You'd be like, no, I'm serious, because there's no way, like if you have that video, then if it goes to court, then there's no way for you, like that's such damaging evidence to the intent where he doesn't believe you're going to frame him for something. Does that make sense?
Oh, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Like for me, like I had a situation where
I just don't like it. No face, no case, bro. I don't like people knowing that I did something with somebody.
No, but I'm not saying do anything sexual. Do something where you're clearly attracted to him. I had a situation where I had a client. It was this type of situation where he got caught in a bathroom with a girl, and the girl had a boyfriend, and the girl fully had no problem being in the bathroom with this guy. In fact, if she wasn't going to get caught, she would have had sex with him.
Oh, Lord.
But her boyfriend was outside the bathroom. This was at an apartment. And then the boyfriend went around saying that she was sexually assaulted in the bathroom. And the girlfriend is like, well, I can't tell him the truth that I wasn't sexually assaulted, so I have to sit there and go along with this. And in her mind, she's like, I'm going to sweep it under the rug. It's going to go away. But then the boyfriend's like, no, you got to go to the police. And then the boyfriend starts telling other people. And then once we get to that point, then it's like, wow.
It's big.
Yeah, but it's really big. So the guy, my client, you know what he did? He screenshotted every message between her and him.
Good for him.
And if things went bad, he had proof that they'd had sex 20, 30, 40 times and had multiple threesomes.
Slut! You fucking whore!
But like, she doesn't want to lose her new boyfriend, and so because of that, she's not deliberately lying, but she's obfuscating from the truth.
Do you think that there should be a stricter, stronger fucking law for women who do that?
Yes,
that defamation of character bullshit. Like, just because you don't want to get in trouble with daddy.
When did Lana become this red pill? This is Jesus, man.
All your
you
need to watch my content.
All your topics are red pill.
Oh, no, not even. It's not even red pill. It's accountability.
Of course.
I don't give a shit about red pill, blue pill shit.
I think Amber Heard should be a convicted felon, and I think that...
Yeah, my point. See, my point. But I feel like women who put men on child support, that should be tested. There should be a DNA test that says that homie is the motherfucking dad.
Yeah, well,
women
What
should
about
be held.
deadbeats? The deadbeats who are like, I don't want to pay child support because of X, Y, and Z.
Fuck them like that. Then let him be a fucking deadbeat. But my thing is like there's deadbeats, and then there's women who put men on child support, and it's not even his fucking kid.
Yeah, there also should be a way. There should also be a situation where if a man wants to take care of his kids, he should be able to get off child support, because one of the problems is you can't turn it off, and that's one of the issues with child support.
Fact. You know, my dad. I'm the youngest. My dad has 4 daughters. I'm the youngest one, but my dad is still paying child support for my sister who's 37.
Wow.
And my point.
It's insane.
He's paying the government back. How the fuck are you paying the government? What the fuck did they do?
It was back child support.
It was back child support, which is so stupid.
Madness.
But at the same time, I'm just like I feel like women who lie about a guy raping them, hitting them, or the child support bullshit, I feel like a lot more women should be held accountable for lying on men, because they fucking do.
Yeah.
And we're just treated like fucking damsel in distresses. And I'm like women are so fucking dainty. And I'm like, no, like my hit is hard. I look little as shit. I know I do. But if I smack you, I'm gonna smack you like a fucking grown ass man.
Yeah.
It's still gonna hit. It still hurts.
Yeah.
It still hurts. I'm like, you still have skin. You like a lot of the shit that I say will still pierce your fucking heart. And I get so disrespectful when I'm mad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just don't see why like women who get upset. And like I get upset, I get disrespectful. Some women get upset and they get defamation character. You know, they want to be like, oh, Michael fucking did this to me. He
film
hit me.
everything, guys. Film everything. So
document
So when you're
everything,
a guy, stop snitching on yourself. Like I don't care how many times I've had sex with a girl. If she sends me nudes, my response is double, like a thumbs up. I don't even send a heart. It's a thumbs up, and then it's like, have a great day, be blessed, go with God. I'd never write back like, I can't wait to put my penis inside of you. You will never hear me say that. You will never see a text message of that.
I will be pissed as fuck if I send someone a nude and they're like, have a good day, go with God. Motherfucker, you better tell me you want to put this dick in me.
No. Here, what I would do though, Lana, is I would call you to have this conversation, but I would do it on FaceTime or FaceTime audio, because you can't record it. Okay. You can't 3-way FaceTime audio and then have a second recording, and also on WhatsApp. You would need a second phone to record it. My any kind of like lascivious talking on my behalf, it always comes back to haunt you, because when things fall apart, if things fall apart between you and the woman, then it turns into the situation with Sarah Brady.
It does, yeah.
And Jonah Hill.
Wait. Oh,
yeah.
That fucking bitch. You know what's crazy?
I actually looked up the whole thing after the Access Vegas when you guys were talking about it.
Yeah.
And I seen both sides of the story, and I'm like, yeah, I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, but the problem...
I don't understand anywhere she's coming from.
Yeah, the problem is that there's other messages where they break up, and she's like, wow, nice timing after you were with me for 6 months. Clearly showing, number one, they did not have an acrimonious breakup. They were friends after they broke up.
Yeah.
He told her when he was going to see someone else. He waited 6 months. And then when she had a baby, the new fiance, then Sarah Brady decides to leak the messages. That makes, again, I don't care what your reasons are. If you break into my house and you get shot, it is your fault. In this case, when she starts leaking messages between them after he has a baby with someone else, everything it's on her. I don't really care. I don't care if she thought he was controlling or not. The thing is, you have the option to leave,
right?
And she chose to not leave, and that's the problem. He broke up with her, which he should have, because if it wasn't meeting her standards, it's like it's really dangerous when people are saying he's being controlling, because the problem is like, then let's just make Islam illegal. Like, no, I'm being serious. Like, I'm not Islamic, but every Islamic man would have agreed with every single point that he made. So let's just make Islam illegal, or all of Islam is controlling. How is that not correct?
Right.
That is, all of Islam agrees with everything. Now, he's not Islamic, he's Jewish, and I'm not Islamic, I'm Protestant. But if what you're saying is what he's controlling, then when you extrapolate that to the next point, every point he made is about not having unaccompanied male friends, okay? Don't post these thought traps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All this kind of stuff that he was saying.
Yeah.
When he said that stuff, if you were talking to a traditional Muslim man, he would have agreed with every single point that Jonah Hill was making. And they're like, well, he knew what he was getting into. No. This is wrong. Everybody listen up here. You don't surf in a bikini. He was asking her to not post thought traps and a bikini like she was single.
You surf in a bodysuit.
You surf or whatever. Yes,
Yeah.
or like a bodysuit. This whole idea is like, oh, she's a surfer in a bikini. You are not. You are missing the point. If that's what you need to do to cope, to make yourself believe that that's what's going on, that's fine. But the reality is you don't surf in a bikini. She was doing two different things. There were photos of her where she's just showing off her ass and her stomach. It was clear. The intention for her is, if you looked at her Instagram, it was very clear from someone watching she was open for business. I'm not saying she was being slutty. I'm not saying she was being slutty. What I'm saying is from his Instagram, it was clear that he was in a relationship. From her Instagram, she was open for business. Now, if that's the case, I'm not judging her. If that's the case, if he's fine with that, then that's okay. If he's not fine with that, then what he said was, if this brings you happiness, then I support it. That's not controlling.
No.
He goes, I respect that you're beautiful and I respect that you're talented. But in order for, I have certain boundaries and you're not respecting my boundaries. And so I would like to, we need to split up if that's the case. That is not an ultimatum. That is, those are boundaries. Because if one of the boundaries had been like, hey, I would like it if other men didn't put their penis inside of you, then people will be like, oh, he's just defining boundaries and that's very clear. But how's that any different?
I feel like I agree and disagree with you at the same time. I completely agree with you. Like if you put him in front of a Muslim, you're going to be like, yes, I agree with you. I feel like a man in general, a human in general, whether he's woman or a man or whatever Jonah Hill said, was so relevant to his boundaries. That's it. This is what it takes to be with me. If you don't like it, don't be with me. That's it. And that's how, oh my God, it's so funny because I just went through this. Sorry, I'm a little sick. But I just went through this with a guy that I was dating, and I had told him he's a drinker. He likes liquor, like vodka. And I told him, I don't like when you're drinking vodka. Simple. And I'm like, if you're gonna be drinking, I'm not trying to change you, and I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But if you're gonna drink, just don't call me and don't be around me because I don't like it. You're a little aggressive. And that was my boundary. But his boundary was like, well, I want to be around you when I'm drunk, so I'm gonna come over. And he would still disrespectfully, in my eyes, he disrespected me and what I wanted. So we would get into arguments about it, and then he would go and tell me that I'm trying to change him.
Listen, so. If he came over and wanted to have sex with you and he wasn't drunk, would you have had sex with him?
1,000%.
Okay, so my point is this. This is where we get lost as men. The alcohol should never mean more than the sex. Something's wrong with you as a man if you are going into bathroom stalls by yourself to do cocaine, or if you're drinking with other men all day, and your girl wants to have sex with you and you would you need to get drunk rather than have sex with her, you need to question your own sexuality. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know where we miss the point. When guys want to go to clubs and drink for 5 hours when a girl wants to go home with them, I don't know how this generation has gotten to this point, but this doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I don't drink. It's I don't need to drink to want to have sex. I woke up this morning wanting to have sex. I don't understand the point of drinking from 10:30 to 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I don't understand that shit.
Yeah.
And it's just very confusing. I mean, to numb the pain, but I just don't understand. If I'm going to bring two girls home, what pain do I have? What do I have to numb myself from? That's such a beautiful experience that I want to remember fully and I don't need to be on mushrooms, cocaine, or fucking alcohol. It's so fun to do that. I want to be completely sober for that.
Right.
Oh, it's so traumatic. The two women were fucking me at the same time. No, let's get drunk because two women want to have sex with me. Help, I need to cope with this. What is wrong with you? I don't understand why men do this.
I didn't understand it. I mean, because on top of that, I'm like, I'm not against you drinking. Do what the fuck you want. I just don't want to be around it. Especially, and I'm like, if you're not, mind you, I told him, I was like, beer all day. Beer, he's cool. It's the vodka I hated. But I'm like, as soon as he would drink vodka, he'd want to be around me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All of it, when you're drunk, you just kind of you do the drunk calls and you do hey babe, what do you want to do? Let me come over. And then he comes over and I'm like, you're being mad aggressive. And I'm Puerto Rican, bro.
Yeah.
A dude being I have a really strong issue with male authority. It's my dad was never like that, but my ex-husband's dad was like that. My ex-husband was like that. Dad? Fuck you, bro. But guys would there was just a lot of male authority that kind of fucked with me. And then on top of that, after being raped, it was oh my God, if you're telling me what to do, or if you're like trying to like force me to do something that I don't want to do as a man, it fucks with me. If it like a woman, I don't know. It's just like, I take it a little more lightly. A man, I just like, I want to flip the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he would do that. He would get like kind of aggressive, like, hey, go grab me this. Or like, oh, you know, we're going to do this. I want to see you, so I'm going to see you. And I'm like, motherfucker, you got me fucked up. I would lay hands on you.
Yeah, I think where men, like, the boundaries get lost is this idea. Like, for me, I don't need whoever I date. She has agency. She can have whatever opinion she wants, and I love it when she expresses her feelings. Where I draw the line is, you can't express to me my feelings. You can't tell me how I feel.
Exactly.
And you cannot accuse me. And then when the other thing is, when it's excessive amount, like, of course I cuss a lot, but when it's excessive amounts of profanity and hyperbole, meaning exaggerations, then the communication breaks down. Especially if I can't tell if you're joking. So it's like, oh, we're going out to this place with all these fucking whores, and I'm like, okay, some of these girls really like you and they want to be friends with you, and you just call them all fucking whores. And I'm trying to do work. So like, this is not constructive for our relationship. So you shouldn't. You can't do this. So for me, my rule is, you can ask me how I feel. You cannot tell me how I feel. I do not care about like the rest of the stuff. Like, again, because I'm with women who are with other women. You know, before I had my girlfriend and I are just together now. But at that time when I did that, I didn't mind if my girlfriend was on social media in bikinis, because she was attracting a lot of other women, and that's one of the things that, you know, kind of was conducive to my relationship. So that's the point. Like, you can't tell me how I feel. You can always ask me how I feel. We don't hold things for later. You know what I'm saying? Like, passive aggressive, unless it's the same thing that's happened. If your boyfriend has cheated on you, and then like 6 months later, he's like, you know, you bring it up, and you cheated on me. That's like, you know, you can say, hey, I'm still processing this. But then if he cheats on you again, you are fully within your right to bring it up again. The fact that he cheated on you, of course.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm gonna send that clip. I'm gonna send that fucking clip to you. I say, because he. Oh God.
Because he's not changing his behavior. But the same thing has happened to me. Like, if I'm dating someone and she attacks me on a regular basis, and then she sort of gets over it for a couple of weeks, and then she starts attacking me again, I'm just going to point out, like, hey, we're back to zero. We haven't gotten better from the thing that was going on. And there's the thing that people don't understand is that, like, if you want the relationship that grandma and grandpa had for 75 years, you have to understand that you have to be able to communicate without. It's way more gray and it's much more concrete. Whereas the relationship that a lot of these girls want to have is very colorful and it's very fragile. It's very toxic. And I keep trying to explain. Yeah, right. But the thing is, though, toxic doesn't go for 75 years. You see what I'm saying? Toxic doesn't really have a future.
In the Latino community, it kind of does. Just to be fair, like low key, I feel like if you don't have toxicity and you're Latino, it's like, what the fuck do you have? It's that I don't know. People gotta leave a comment down below. If you're Latino and you feel like I feel like toxicity is just part of it.
Yeah, I just feel like there's a better way to communicate, and I also really enjoy being single. So I would rather be single than have to deal with like a bunch of drama. But that's the thing. Like, my girlfriend is 25 years younger than me, so I have to like. There's a lot of situations where we have to have different ways of communicating, and then if we communicate that the proper way where we can both understand each other, then that's fine. Then when we're around other people, she can cuss all she wants, she can say whatever she wants, but as long as we understand we're on the same team, and that's one of the issues. Like,
ooh, you know what? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because okay, so in your opinion, just your opinion, I'm the type of person where I come at you adult. I will be like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Hey, can we talk about this?
Yeah.
As adults, I communicate. But I feel like if you're fucking doing it over and over and over, and we're talking about the same thing over and over and over, I flip the fuck out. I named this personality. Her name's Patricia. She's a bitch, bro. Like, I literally, I get so disrespectful. I called this dude a bitch probably like 120 times. And I apologized the next day, but it's like, okay, there's nothing that I could do about it. But at the same time, I'm like, bro, like, am I wrong for going full force when I tried for 6 different conversations? I tried being respectful, and I tried coming at you like an adult, talking to you respectfully, not calling you out your name, not even yelling, really. Well, kind of yelling, but like not really yelling, really, to the point where I'm like irate. I'm here. I am livid, and now I'm talking mad shit about you. Like, am I wrong?
I mean, everyone's going to have a breaking point, but I think as long as you also have a solution that comes along with it, then I think it should make sense. I like one of the situations, if you have two people that are dating each other and one person just needs more than the other one, then the person who needs more is going to feel victimized all the time, even though the other person may be doing more. And so that's one of the issues that happens.
The person that needs more needs to come up with the fucking solution to what you're needing and how. Because also,
but that's also often unrealistic too, right? So you'll have, this will be with guys or girls, where they will want something, and then when they get it, don't appreciate it at all, and they're only focused on those small negative things instead of the larger things. One of the things I'll tell, if women could do this, they'd fix all their problems, but women generally have a harder time doing this than men. If you just paid attention to a man's actions and no attention to his words, and most importantly, paid no attention to how you feel about what he did, but just what he did, you would be much happier. If you would choose the man who took the right action and you didn't worry so much about how you felt about it, you would be much, much happier.
Oh boy, that was fucking solid, bro. I say that shit all the time. You took the words right out of my mouth for the last 2 fucking months. Like I was dating this guy for 2 months, and we just got to the point where it was like, and I'm literally telling him, I'm like, I don't care what you have to say to me. You can say all the fuck you want, but guess what? Your actions is a louder communication than you speaking to me. I'm like, the actions that you're taking are the ones that I'm fucking listening to. And now that I'm like, now he's blocked. Like now I'm like, you're done.
So one of the things where I think people get wrong, men do this and women do this, is they think because I like you, you should like me.
Oh,
right? But the thing is, for a woman, she's going to like you back if she's attracted to you. And for me as a man, I'm going to like her back if she respects me. You respecting me means more to me than you liking me. That's the thing. So understanding the boundaries of.
Oh my God. I literally, oh my God. Pound it.
Yeah.
Pound
it says
bro.
It says in the Bible. It says
Lana,
in the Bible.
don't break the mic.
I know, right? I'm sorry. No, it's because like I literally told, I've been saying this for probably like the last like 2 years. I've been saying, I'm like, it's not that I don't believe in love, but I don't believe in just love.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to trust you first, because trusting you coincides with respecting you.
Yeah.
If I can trust you, I can respect you. If I can trust and respect you, then I can love you.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I'm like, love is not real. Love alone is not real. I cannot love you without trusting and respecting you.
Yeah.
Me falling in love, like this whole head over heels, like I was that girl. I was delusional as fuck. I thought that, our relationship.
The dopamine and the serotonin for some women and men too is enough to carry them through the relationship when there's other red flags. And the thing is, like it says in the Bible, it's like, if you love me, keep my commandments. And it's the same thing in my relationship. If you love me, the word that starts with an L means nothing.
Yeah.
You need to respect the things that I ask you to do. That's how you show me. Again, there were a bunch of people waving American flags back in the 1940s saying, I love America. But there were a few men who stormed Normandy Beach and lost their lives storming those Russian machine gun positions. Right. Those men actually loved their country. Mm-hmm. They loved their country through action, whereas the rest of the people were waving flags. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. So as a man, and I'm not saying women don't do this, but in general, a man is going to let you know he wants to marry you by asking you to marry him. Mm-hmm. When he says all these things, well, I want to marry you, but I'm doing this. No, he's fucking someone else. He's lying to you, but you don't see that because he's saying these words and you're convinced that these words are true.
Words are not true.
If women would spend more time paying attention to a man's actions and less time paying attention to how they feel, they would be much, much happier.
I think you hit some people's chakras in that one. You hit.
Yeah.
Is it the astrology that he doesn't believe in?
Yes.
Okay, before we get off this pod, which by the way, thank you, because this podcast, oh my God, this is gonna be a real good podcast. I can't wait to clip these. But before we get off, I always ask my guests, what is the advice? What is the best advice? Kind of like, not, because I hate when people give me the whole like, don't stop, just keep going, just keep trying. Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah.
What's the best life advice that you've ever gotten? Like life hack in a sense.
Find mentors. So if you look at my company right now, so I said we're on pace for I think 6 or 7 million this year. If we do that, so if I say where does my fulfillment come from? It's a combination of a few guys, but it's Ty Lopez a little bit. It's the online coaching, I would say maybe like some Wes Watson. If you say, where does my networking come from, my ability to network to get people on the podcast, that comes from Dan Fleischman. If you're saying, where do my social media, my reels come from, that would be Ryan Stewman, Wes Watson, and Brad Lee. Yes, where does my affiliate program come? That's obviously from Andrew Tate. If you ask where my where my sales comes from, my sales team, that would come from Cole Gordon. My copywriting would come from Nick Cosman. None of it was originally mine. It was mentors, and because of these mentors, some we paid and some we just watched, we've been able to turn this into almost pretty soon. I would expect by maybe first or second quarter next year, a $10 million a year company. So how do we do that? Every single thing I did, I copied from someone else, and then I humbled myself to understand that they know how to do something better than me. So when you come to the realization that there have been 110 billion humans to ever live on Earth, right now there's 8 billion that are alive, and if you were to consider that of that many people have been on the earth, any thought you have is probably not original. Someone had this thought before you and came up with a solution for this problem. And a lot of times, because of the internet, you can find it very quickly. What I recommend people do, especially early on in some kind of business venture, is to copy experts first and then do your own thing later.
And tweak it a little
Then
bit.
tweak it a little later. It's a 10,000 hour rule from the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And it's also like, every year I play Madden. I play competitive Madden. And every year I find
I did not know that.
I find who the best 5 players in the world are, and generally the best 5 players in the world play with all the same players, and they all play with the same playbook, or like one of 2 playbooks. And so I'll adopt what the best players in the world are doing and start from there, and then from that, then pick my own strategies from that point going forward. It's almost like chess, very similar, complex adaptive systems. I just find whatever the dominant strategy is, and then I just sort of bifurcate away from there. All the teams in the NFL throw the ball more now because that's the dominant strategy. And so now you're starting to see a few teams start run the ball more. So that's the kind of thing, is finding mentors, finding people who have done something successful before you. Wes Watson is doing $3 million a month now with like 90% profit. So we copy a lot of the things that he does. Andrew Tate with Hustle University was doing $20 million a month with when he was selling a low ticket offer. So we're creating a low ticket offer like that. So we copy everything that someone else does. Oh, also my Clips channel, and then my Clips, I sold that from Rollo Tomasi. Obviously, obviously because Rollo's channel did that. The live stream stuff I do, I stole that from Rollo. So every single thing I do in my business, we took from someone else. Someone taught us to use Slack. Someone taught us to use School. Someone taught us to use HubSpot. We got all those from recommendations from other people we consider to be mentors.
Nice. That's actually a really good idea. Because I'm like, I have mentors, but my mentors aren't I get what you mean.
Yeah.
My mentors are like real people. I'm like, I should go on YouTube and just look at my
If
shit.
you're looking for mentors, all my mentors I've interviewed on my podcast.
Nice. Okay, well, thank you so much for this fucking amazing podcast. And no disrespect. I hope I didn't disrespect your girlfriend at all.
No, why?
But
she's probably gonna love you. I don't know.
she does. I met her. She's fucking great. I thought she is smart. She's smart as fuck. But that was today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for an amazing fucking topic, amazing podcast. But we will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.